Welcome to the United We Scan podcast, the podcast by rural carriers for rural carriers. The views expressed in this podcast do not reflect the views or opinions of the United States Postal Service or the National Rural Letter Carriers Association. We ask that you please consult your assigned union representative for guidance in your local area. Make sure you like this podcast, share with your fellow rural carriers, and subscribe to be notified each time a new episode is uploaded. Please rate this podcast 5 stars where applicable, and leave a comment or question for us below. Thank you. Now, here are the hosts of the United We Scan podcast.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. We have a special edition today. We've got myself and James and Josh. And Josh, you want to make the introductions of our special guests tonight?
I surely would. We have a couple of gentlemen who are fans of ours, and we are definitely fans of theirs. As they said once, that their number one fan told them that they are awesome at being awful. They attempt to deliver some comic relief on occasion. We have Damian and Shawn joining us this evening from Attempted Delivery.
Yes, thank you for having us.
You are welcome. Well, I'm going to apologize in advance now, Damian, because I don't have any material to fuck with you with. Shawn, on the other hand, I got a couple things for you. I
nice to meet you.
Well, I apologize. Our, I don't want to say our hosts, because we all collab are all on equal footing is what I'm told. But our person with all of the recording equipment, Kristen.
Yes, sir.
James, who is our newest addition to the family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the one everybody hates online, so.
Shawn, I want to teach you a word real quick.
Yeah.
It's called statutory.
I'm familiar.
All too familiar.
While I'm talking to you here, with your name, there are not many professions that you can really get away with using your name. From what I've heard, your previous attempts of using your name in the proper professions cost you a lot of money in both refunds and 10% in restitution. So it's a good thing you decided to go with comedy.
Yeah, it's not by choice. I'm forced into it. No, that's funny. I actually considered going by just Shawn D when I first started comedy until Damian was like, your name's Dick and Sheets. Like, your name's a punchline. Like, why would you give that up?
I have to agree. There's many times I'm going, wow, the jokes I could come up with that name.
Yeah, the only jokes I have about it are about how I don't have jokes about it. Because if I did, they'd all be plagiarizing 8-year-olds.
Well, now you have one you can use.
Yeah.
Not a punchline, it's the punchline.
Well, we are fans of yours, and I think you guys definitely do a service. Like ours is not like we kind of use a postal theme, but it's not a postal podcast per se, and it will be of no help to anybody. But you guys, provide a lot of good information and useful advice, and we appreciate you jeopardizing that credibility by having us on. Thank you.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate you guys coming on because it was pretty cool. Because I started listening. I think you guys were in episode in the 20s, and I had started from the beginning, and so it's like.
How'd you hear about us? Just out of curiosity.
I think I saw you post on maybe it was Deliver Me, on the Facebook page, one of them, or Postal Maniacs.
Okay, yeah, I've posted in some of those like Postal Maniacs and Postal Meme, the meme pages, pretty much.
Yeah, it was one of those. So I was like, oh, that'll be something else to listen to while I'm out there. And so I did. I just like binged it until I was caught up. And then like every Thursday, I'm like, is it on? Because that's like first thing I push as I head out to the route.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's very flattering.
I think I heard someone mention it before, and then I think Rural Info had actually posted something with a link to you guys saying that you guys were really funny, and I'm like, all right, let me check it out.
Right.
Yeah, I told
Awesome.
you about it, Josh.
That would be it.
And yeah, when I saw it when it was posted on Rural Info, that was awesome too that she did that.
Gotcha.
As a latecomer, heard about it yesterday and heard about this coming together yesterday, so I decided to start listening today and started at the beginning, and I'm working my way through it. So
Awesome.
So
late to the party, but still interested.
So a little background for our listeners. Damian and Shawn are role carriers, and they decided to go into stand-up, and their podcast basically attempted delivery is almost from when they first started and their journey through. Am I correct, guys?
Yeah. We started recording some episodes like as we were kind of giving each other the courage to do it. So the first cringy episodes are us trying to just get the guts to do it, and then around episode 5 or 6 we actually start, and then after that it's just kind of each week talking about how the mics went that week, and then a lot of whining about bombing on stage. Nowhere else, just
On stage.
just on stage doing comedy.
It's a figure of speech.
Right.
If that doesn't work out, at least you guys have the podcast.
True. True.
Yeah, it's been definitely one I like listening to it because sometimes with you guys, I'm either going, "Oh my gosh," or I'm just kind of, just that head shake, eye roll. Really? Usually when it's the lack of music or movie knowledge from Shawn. But
Speaking of, so if we decided we wanted to talk about movies, what are the 2 movies you actually have watched other than Jesus Christ Superstar?
I've watched plenty of movies. I just apparently none of the classics. I just have a lot of gaps. Because I've definitely seen movies. I used to, I've seen a lot of in kind of a wide variety. I don't know, a lot of chick flicks, a lot of classic horror movies, a lot of some action movies. Although I'm starting to look like I'm trying to grow my hair out, and I'm starting to look like Keanu Reeves. And people keep calling me John Wick, and I should probably see those so I know.
yes.
But yeah, I mean,
If it makes you
I've
feel
seen
better,
plenty.
I haven't seen any of the John Wick movies yet. So
No, I hear they're great, but
They are good.
well,
Don't
I
forget,
just
you
don't
also
get out of the
gotta see the rest
house.
of his movies too.
What's that?
You got to see the rest of his movies too.
But true, I have seen The Matrix, but it's been so long I don't remember it.
No, I was talking about Bill and Ted.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I have seen that. Yeah, I have seen that, but I can't remember it. But I think I've seen that. I think I was 10 when I saw that, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, I'll have to revisit. I have a lot to revisit.
That and your math skills are superb. I just want to say.
Oh, it's atrocious. Yeah.
I was a couple weeks ago when you guys were talking about with dates, and you're like, that was 1,000 years ago. I was standing outside and I started banging the back of my head on a brick wall because it was just so funny.
That's good. At least I can be funny unintentionally.
Funny though is when you're unintentional.
Right.
I mean, everybody laughs at the person that slips and falls.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I kind of did that this past winter when the boyfriend was walking out to the truck one morning. He took a couple steps off the porch, feet came out from underneath him, and down he went. And I'm like, "Are you okay?"
You're still concerned, but it's hilarious.
Exactly.
Like one of those slow motion comics.
Right.
Yeah. I have seen those.
Are you any of you guys into stand up at all? What comics do you like? Are you into that at all?
I am. I'm not very versed and don't watch it as often as I would, or listen to it as often as I would like to.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty.
I know John Mulaney dropped his special.
Yeah, I got to check that out. Everyone's raving about that one
this weekend. If it's his new material, last year for the kid's birthday, I took them and a few of their friends to see him. It is all new material.
Nice.
Right.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that. I'm a big fan of John Mulaney's.
So that is definitely on our agenda for this weekend to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But, like I said, I don't have the time or the energy to watch half the stuff I have in the DVR, let alone look up anything else.
Right.
And for Sirius XM right now, I have we're down to one car at the moment because all of the cars keep just deciding the engines want to quit and
jeez.
blow up. So
yeah, I heard you reference that in an episode. That's always fun.
yeah. So
I think it's the loose nut behind the steering wheel.
yeah. Well, my wife's trying to point that as being the issue. So at some point sooner than later, I definitely need to get we replace one, the one vehicle that's been sitting in the shop for a few months now.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually replace the one that we have that's working. Only got just shy of 250,000 miles on it.
Nice.
Just breaking it in.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on the car.
Paid off.
I grew up with the old timers of watching Richard Pryor and
Carlin probably they
yes,
kind of
that's exactly who I was thinking of.
they kind of go hand in hand. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I grew up with a lot of the old ones, but again, I'm older than
Yeah,
you.
I'm a huge fan of, or was a huge fan of Buddy Hackett.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah. Really getting back there. That's an obscure
Old
one.
Jewish guy that loves to talk about the member.
But more recent ones I do like Bert Kreischer and oh god, what's that one I've been seeing going around Facebook clips of Matt something or another. He's fucking hilarious. He does crowd work. That's pretty much all he does.
Oh, is it Matt Rife?
Yes.
Yeah, he's younger looking kid. I don't know how old he is, but he looks young. He's like a baby face kind
He
of.
looks like a model or something. It's like, you're not a comic. You look like a
Yeah.
like underwear ads.
Yes. He's only
Yeah,
20,
I need to get around to seeing him.
He's 24.
Oh wow,
he is a
jeez.
baby.
Yeah.
My son will be 24 this year. Yeah, he's a baby. Yeah,
My girlfriend's son will be 24.
Your girlfriend's got a few.
I was more into the British comedies when I was younger,
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
like Keeping Up Appearances, and what was that one? Are You Being Served?
Alrighty.
And then Mr. Bean.
Oh, Mr. Bean was awesome.
Definitely know Mr. Bean, yeah.
Rowan Atkinson, even his stage performances, especially like when he's the school teacher or the principal,
Mm-hmm.
and reading the names out of the book, or the Invisible Drum Set.
I was just about to ask if you had seen the Invisible Drum Kit. Yeah, that one's amazing.
Oh yeah, that one's amazing, and the fact that he's moving with the sound of it just perfect timing on it.
Right.
And then I also liked Carlin, brutal, honest, but it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also more modern. I like Steve Hofstetter.
Oh yeah, he's good too. I've seen a lot of his stuff online.
His ability to handle hecklers on the spot like that, just be able to pop that stuff right out of his head.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And he's almost built his thing on that to where I bet he can't go to a show without getting heckled now, because it's almost like inviting it at that point.
well, that and I'm sure the people want to see if they can actually heckle him to where he gets frustrated too.
Right.
That's more of a challenge too, because if you can actually get him frustrated, you won.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you'll lose the room if you if you can't have if you get visibly upset at an audience member.
About
Have you guys had to deal with hecklers?
Not really. There was one, and you might catch it in an episode coming up. I think the episode title is "Yo, shut the fuck up."
Oh yeah.
Because there was one night at an open mic where this guy was just commenting and answering every kind of. A lot of comics will kind of open a premise with like a rhetorical question. They may or may not even want an answer, but he was answering as if like he was in a conversation with them, and then kind of just like talking over people and making a lot of weird comments, and different comics handled it in a different way. And then we finally had one go up, this guy Charles Baynard, who's hilarious, and the guy just starts talking. He just looks over and he goes, "Yo, shut the fuck up!" Like after everyone's kind of like kind of either ignored it or kind of skirted around it or just like made like a smart ass comment back to the guy or that kind of thing. This guy just kind of shut it down, and it was pretty funny. Us personally, we haven't really been heckled like personally because we've just been open mics. I'm sure we'll experience it more when we get into rooms with just people there to see comedy, not other comics.
Yeah.
They judge us silently. They don't typically openly heckle us.
They
They
give
just
you that
roll their eyes
judgy
or walk
eye.
out.
Right.
It's that judgy eye that gets you.
Right.
Well, thank God the stage lights don't let you see their eyes.
Oh, trust me, even with the stage lights, those judgy eyes will just come right through.
oh,
So
yeah.
that's what I've
You'll
been feeling.
feel them.
Yeah, and I remember that dude, and he was it was weird because it wasn't even like he wasn't heckling necessarily, but he was just very not self-aware and just was talking, kind of like thinking out loud. It was just like, gee, it was very distracting. But I kind of at the time I kind of appreciated it because it's like, all right, well, I need to get used to this anyway, so I might as well have somebody not yelling at me and just yelling for no reason.
And I actually was able to deal with him a little bit. I had a bit that I was trying out about when I don't know if do you guys have I know you guys are kind of spread out across the country. Do you guys have like a Cracker Barrel?
Yeah, I know. I'm familiar.
Yeah.
with
The restaurant.
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't know how regional that was, but I was kind of working on a bit about people kind of losing their mind when they introduced like a plant-based sausage. Like they didn't get rid of anything on the menu, they just added like a plant-based sausage, and people were losing their minds saying it was woke sausage and how dare they, I'm gonna boycott. Like they didn't take away the real sausage, they just added plant-based. So the bit was, well, okay, now the meat eaters are more annoying than the vegans. But and then of course this guy goes, I'm vegan. So I was like, I guess you proved me wrong.
Yeah, about oh gosh, it's been almost 20 years ago. I got to meet Brad Sherwood. That was pretty cool.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Yeah,
He would do on the Whose Line Is It Anyway? Is that am I thinking of the right guy?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was playing in Michigan and in Lansing, and I went with a friend of mine who manages the hotel he was staying at, actually. And she's like, I got tickets if you want to go with me. I'm like, sure. So after the show, we were sitting back in her office drinking a beer, and he walks by and knock, 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 and comes in and hangs out with us for a few and throws back a couple. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
That's sweet.
And
That's another comedy show that's really good.
And
Those guys.
For sure.
So he's no longer with us, but I did get an opportunity to meet Gallagher one time as well in Traverse City.
Oh, that's
really?
crazy.
Yeah,
Legend.
yeah. I've got a picture with him, with me and my ex and Gallagher. Yeah,
That's awesome.
it was.
And it was him, not Gallagher too.
No, it was him. Yes, it was
Nice.
him. It was not his brother.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a fun night too.
Now, I don't know if any are old enough to remember the show, and I think it was regional to the Philadelphia area. It was called The Great Space Coaster.
No.
I don't think so.
No.
Okay. Like I said, one, you probably weren't old enough, and it might not have been. It might have been just a regional show.
Mm-hmm.
The premise of the show was the one, and I'm using finger quotes here, main character was a very large, man-sized puppet with red hair.
Okay.
A friend of mine from high school resembled this character a lot.
That poor guy.
He got into an argument, him and one of the other girls who I was friends with got into an argument one day at lunch, and she just turned around and said, "Well, you look like Baxter," which was the name of the character, which stuck.
Oh boy.
He actually got into stand-up comedy.
Oh yeah.
In the Philadelphia region.
From trauma from that lady.
I guess.
Oh, yeah.
So he actually started, there was a restaurant in the Philadelphia area called Georgine's that used to do like once a month a showcase.
Mm-hmm.
So he was emceeing, and one of his jokes, like I said, he was like 350 pounds, 6'3", with flaming red hair.
Oh boy.
So one of his jokes was, "I used to be bulimic, but now I'm halfway through recovery."
Oh boy.
That's a good joke.
Nice.
So just by chance, me and my wife happened to go, and he was the MC for the night.
Oh,
So after the showcase was over, we sat down with him to have a couple of drinks. And for the life of me, I cannot remember who the headliner was, but it was one of the more popular comics at the time who had done a lot of appearances on the Stern Show.
mm-hmm.
Who, so me and my wife and my buddy and this gentleman, like I said, my wife can't remember what his name was either. For the life of us, can't remember who it is. We're sitting there having drinks, just shooting the shit. And he's telling us about how it's like, what it was like being on the Stern Show, and he's, and how Stern is as a person and everything. It was cool.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish and if and when I ever remember, I will let you guys know who it was.
Fair enough.
The biggest
But
ass I ever met was Al Franken.
Really?
Yeah, I can
Yes.
see that.
Yeah.
Well, it partially wasn't his fault, but it was his management's fault. When he was plugging the circuit. This would have been 2000 when it was for Clinton running for president. I don't know if it was re-election or what, but he was doing the Democratic circuit and staying in, or I think he was speaking at Michigan State University, and he walks into the Radisson in downtown Lansing, him and his two assistants. And he goes to check in, and I kind of figured he was coming in because I actually had Saturday Night Live scripts that were getting faxed over to us. And
Oh wow.
yeah, I know, right? And the front desk, he
That's
approaches to check in, and she's like, "I'm not finding a reservation for him." And she's like, "Look," and they're like, "We don't have a reservation." And they're like, "What?" And I look at her because I was working the third night shift, and we were sold out that night. I said, "Just put him in, just get him, just put him in. I'll take care of it later." And so she's like, "Okay." So she's like. And at this point, management hadn't called and given us a credit card, so, the assistants are all annoyed because now they got to use one of theirs. And he's just standing there with this disgruntled look on his face, and I'll be like, "I have a fax for you, Mr. Franken. I'll be right back." And then a little bit later, management called. They're like, "Oh, my God, we're so sorry. Please put it on this card." Yeah. So that's, I've met 3 comedians in my day so far.
That's an eclectic bunch too.
Yeah, Al Franken, Brad Sherwood, and Gallagher. I mean, they're all in their own realms.
Well, I guess we're honored to be added to that.
Yeah.
There we
Well,
go.
I guess I wouldn't. I guess I wouldn't call us comics yet, but wannabes. That'll work.
We'll put you under the comedic relief category.
Fair enough.
There we go. It's good enough.
So, what kind of postal jokes do you have that you haven't obviously done on stage that you can share with us?
You probably have more than I do.
I have a couple. I mean, some of mine kind of lean a little dark, but not crazy. There's one I tried the very first time on stage, and it didn't really do well, so I just never really did it again. But I might revisit it. I took over this route for. I became a regular, and then I took over another route. That's not part of the premise of the bit because no one cares about that. But to set it up, I took over a route. And I get to a box, and all of a sudden, some guy comes up the driveway with a cane. He's a blind guy, and he comes walking up with a cane. So he's a blind gentleman, and I say hi, and he says, "Are you the new regular?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, I guess I got there earlier than the previous regular," because he said, "Well, you're fast, but are you accurate?" The blind guy was asking me
if you were accurate.
He was questioning my accuracy. So I don't know. So I said, "We'll see." Well, he won't. But so it didn't really land. I mean, it did just as well on stage as it just did a minute ago. So I don't mind sharing the one I've kind of opened most stuff with. I'm not going to do it forever because hopefully I'm not doing this forever. But that generally has done pretty well. Just, on my route, I have a senior apartment building. Last week, I delivered 4 books of checks to a woman in her 90s. And that... So, usually that tends to get a laugh because they kind of put the math together that,
yeah, we get it, too.
She writes a lot of checks.
But, a little optimistic. Getting 4 books of checks, her denture cup is half full, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how about you?
I don't think people could see that blind joke coming.
And I think as long as Shawn's not doing the math, that one's a slow burn.
True.
Took me about an hour to get it.
I figured you'd still be trying to figure it out.
You said by an hour, so by your math, would that be 3 weeks?
Yes, exactly. About a month, actually. It's even. My math is off by even intervals, and I do know what an interval is. No, I have a few I've tried that don't land much. I do have one. Well, I have one that packages rip open all the time. And I always love when it's like a Victoria's Secret bag. So I get to deliver that to somebody and get a weird ass look. Like I've been rummaging through their like their delicates. Which is it doesn't get too much fun. It's difficult to write stuff about postal stuff because it's so specific.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
A lot of people don't understand.
Right.
Exactly.
People who are in it would get it, but people at an open mic, there's only 2 of us. Well, actually, there is a third who was a carrier.
He quit. He's not working there anymore. He couldn't make it. He's a better comedian than he is a postal worker. No, I have one that works sometimes. It's during the pandemic, they considered postal workers essential workers. They were calling us heroes and stuff. And it's all right, relax. I brought you granola bars. This isn't. There's nothing heroic going on here.
In cases of
brought you your
paper.
latest wish package. In your wish package.
Exactly.
Oh no, Timu now. Only you can't quite.
Timu now, yeah, but wish back then.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was always fun when you'd pick up that wish package and you knew exactly what was in it when you grabbed it the right way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's either a dab pen or
a personal gratification item.
Something special.
Yeah,
funny.
When the pandemic first hit, I tried to convince my manager to let me work from home. He wasn't buying it.
Yeah, they don't have the good drones for that yet.
No.
I may have long arms, but I can't reach the boxes from my house.
Yeah. If we were allowed to throw them, we could. That would be great.
No, you'd have to switch crafts and become a clerk and be authorized to throw them.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I always love that when people's packages. I love that we have to be the face of the operation who delivers all fucked up packages. And it's like, listen,
Oh my God.
I didn't throw it, but it was thrown plenty of times before I got it.
Oh, don't get me started on
And
the fucked up
each
packages.
time a longer distance. Each time a longer distance, I think they were going for who could make the longest shot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there was another one I was trying that works. It works sometimes. It's like I usually butt it up against like that granola bar one. Like, well, listen, I'm not. There's nothing heroic about me. Last time it snowed, I started sliding into a mailbox, and I put my arm out to stop it. Like, it's not heroic. That's stupid. I thought I was gonna stop a 2,000-pound vehicle with my arm against a mailbox.
Trial and error, bud. Trial and error.
Yeah. It's about to break my arm.
Hey, Ben's jumped in with us tonight too. But yeah,
Oh, nice.
How we
Nice
all
to meet
doing?
you.
How you all doing tonight?
Shawn, Damian, this is Ben. He's one of our not so vocal accomplices.
he'll fill
Oh
in.
yeah,
once-
didn't recognize the voice.
He fills in once in a while.
Once in a great while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, even your podcast has RCAs.
I am the RCA. Thank you.
That's true. Fair enough.
We're non-discriminatory. We accept RCAs, ARCs, PTFs, regular carriers. We even accept dues-paying and non-dues-paying members.
Well, I've heard Bill's take on that. So
Yeah.
Yeah, he had some family stuff going on tonight. Otherwise, he probably would have been a great addition into this group.
okay.
Oh.
Yeah, he reminds me of Al Franken. That's funny you were talking about that.
I know. No, Bill's quite
Yeah, I wanted to ask him if if you crack a postal inspector's head open, do you put that on the 4240 or
Green card or
Are we filling out a 1767 on the carrier?
I'm glad I don't know what form that is.
That's the safety form.
It's a safety hazard form. You fill that out for a safety hazard. Bill cracking postal inspectors' heads open is a safety form for the postal inspectors.
He probably had to
Be
help
on your
him fill it
guard
out
around this
afterward.
guy.
they should have hired him on the spot.
Right?
Yeah,
Oh, shit.
he keeps the mail safe.
Right.
Yeah, that's called an overachiever. I remember in high school we called them tryhards in phys ed.
Yeah. I knew a few of those.
I called them ones that went to class.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Class, what's that?
Yeah, I didn't know
Nothing
what that
I
was.
got.
That's where my math skills came from.
We noticed.
Public education.
A little bit difference between 300 and 1,000 years, but yeah.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah, a lot
Found
of
a
the,
house that I finally might like. Thinking I'm probably gonna buy it.
Yeah, you just gotta get the wife and kid home.
Yep.
Well, with renting, you don't have to pay for anything that goes wrong. You're buying a house, you got to fix everything that's wrong with it. So you got to set aside more than what you're putting into the mortgage for repairs.
That's true.
Yeah,
They also
trust
can't.
me.
They also can't be. They can't be charging much for water up there in Michigan.
No,
I'm on a well, so I don't get charged for water.
he's got the good
I-
stuff.
I'm nowhere near Flint. We're good.
Yeah, exactly. It's because Flint got off of Detroit's water that they had the problem. Figure that one
Gotcha.
out.
Right.
They decided to go from Detroit's water, which somehow apparently was good water, and switched over to Flint River water. If you've ever been on the Flint River, you'd look down at it and go, yeah, I ain't drinking that. Even the fish don't want to drink it.
Yeah, we're in central Pennsylvania, so we have the Susquehanna. So
yeah.
we got a little bit of that. We just have a nuclear power plant up the road.
Let's drink the water.
Yeah.
Hey.
Go on Netflix. It's called 3 Mile Island, and we're drinking that shit. So we won't know the effects of that for about 15 years yet.
It's better than automobile plants on the river.
I grew up with the Schuylkill on one side and the Delaware on the other. So,
wow. You got the best of both worlds.
oh yeah.
So not only did you get the chemicals, you also had the bodies floating by.
There you go. Yeah, from New Jersey.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. This people keep saying, down here with for a steak sandwich, you can't get it. I'm like, well, first of all, you can't get the rolls right because you ain't got the Schuylkill River water running through those rusted copper pipes.
Yeah.
To make bread.
It'll never be as good.
Bread never rises with that water.
In a Philly cheesesteak without rust.
Yeah.
Hey, that's your iron content for the day.
Yeah, good point. Yeah. I am deficient, so that works.
That explains the math.
Right.
It might not bind you up like iron supplements do.
No, but the steak and the roll will. and a quarter pound of cheese on it.
So, question: what's the biggest audience you've done a stand-up comedy for, roughly?
Oh, I guess that would have been the. We did have a little while ago. We had. I guess it's been over maybe 2 months ago. It was
March 10th.
Okay, yeah, they did a showcase, a beginner's luck showcase. They did for us. They kind of got together, like basically almost a mock show, not a mock show. I shouldn't say that, but a small show, just to like kind of get a lot of the people. There's a few newcomers to the same that like are the regular mic that we go to on Monday nights, and they kind of got together a show just to kind of give us a little taste of like a real comedy show feels like. And I mean, I don't know exactly what the turnout was because it was still a free show.
We could have asked at the time. But
but I don't think they even knew because they didn't take tickets or anything. So it was still, they didn't have a count. But I mean, I'm trying to think. The room was full.
Yeah, it was a pretty full house.
I mean, it might have been 50 people at least.
I was going to say at least 50, yeah.
Okay, I'm glad we're on the same page. That must be, we're probably right. I'm glad your math matches up with mine.
I was just going to say that they forgot to tell you, Shawn, that you were supposed to count.
Yeah. I did.
Not realizing your superior counting skills.
One,
I don't know. It's like 200. It looks like 1,000 people. This is like a football stadium, right?
It can't be as intimidating. It can't be nowhere as intimidating as standing up at National Convention at the podium because you're running for vice president.
It can't be.
Room with 2,000 people with the light shining in your face. Oh yeah, let me tell you.
Right.
Well, it depends on the room because it was. I mean, because it was like a bunch of people there to actually enjoy a comedy show as opposed to just comics, like trying out their own material and not necessarily, like not criticizing you, but like not analyzing everything because they're also comedians. So they're thinking about their own set. And if they are listening to you, they're like probably tearing it down. Like, oh, how do you write this joke? Like, oh, that was lazy. Like,
or even if they think it's funny, they may have like heard it 4 or 5 times, and in their head they might be like, "Ah, it's funny. He told it better this time." But it's not an audible laughter. Like we can't hear that on stage, even if they approve of it. They're not audibly laughing because they've heard it 4 or 5 times, even if it does work.
And if comedians often talking about like we kind of appreciate jokes a little bit differently, and I've been guilty of it too, especially once we started thinking about our own jokes, like. You hear a joke and you don't laugh. You just think, oh, it's a great joke.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh wait, I should be laughing. That's what they want. Like that's the point is to is to get laughter. And I'm sitting here just like silent, thinking, wow, that's a really good joke. I was, but that was probably, yeah, exactly, exactly. Right. That was probably the biggest show that we've done, and it was funny because somebody told us, one of our friends, Andrew Brooks, we had him on the podcast before. He's been doing it a little bit longer than us. He's a little bit ahead of the game because he's been doing improv for years prior. But
and he would hate you bringing that up.
I know.
So I love it.
I bring it up anytime I can because I love bringing up that he did improv. But he said that, like, I remember, like, during that night, I remember thinking about what he told us, like, I don't know, maybe 6 months before that. He's like, you guys are doing all right, and you're going to love how easy a real show is. Because people are actually, it's a real audience. People actually want to laugh. So they're on board with everything you're saying. So it is funny how much easier it is to perform in front of people that, like, don't also do comedy.
Right. Yeah, it's much 50 people is honestly much easier than like 3 people.
Yeah, 1,000%. Because 3 people just feels like, all right, I guess I'm just practicing my stage presence at this point because they're not gonna laugh. Yeah, we're all depressed.
With your bad math, wouldn't those 3 people be 50 people?
You're right. This is true. I'm bad at math. I'm not drunk. I don't see double vision. It's not.
Plus the 50 is like 20,000, so it's all relative.
Listen, the statue of David was built 1,000 years ago. I don't care what anybody says.
I was waiting for that. That was.
I'm really interested.
I will have to say I was laughing at the talking about the bands from yesterday's episode. And,
yeah, I'm glad.
Because then you mentioned Flea, and I'm like, I've seen Red Hot Chili Peppers. Who doesn't know Flea? But No, the replacement arm for the Def Leppard's drummer. That I actually had to stop and actually laugh before I could continue tossing the mail along the highway today.
Awesome.
I hope you have a very rural route and that's not a federal crime you're talking about.
No, it was just a little county highway, so it was not a big deal. But that was funny. Because I envisioned it. Let's put it that way.
You dirty,
you said
dirty
23?
birdie.
You said you were on 23?
No, I was on F41. I wasn't on 23.
Oh, okay.
No, I could tell you guys work together. That's always fun. When you mention numbers and people are like, what the fuck are they talking about?
No, we live in the same state, so.
Okay.
So we know our roads really well.
2.5.
That would be the state of confusion, right?
South of me. Yeah, exactly. Completely, state of confusion.
I know that one very well.
Me too.
Been on that road plenty of times.
Every day.
I actually wanted to ask you guys something and get your opinion on something. I went to the PA State Convention a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There was a resolution that was proposed, actually from our local, that made it to the state, and it got shot down. And so I wanted to get your guys' opinion on it. I don't remember the exact wording, but the gist of it was the person who proposed it essentially wanted anybody, any carrier who is going into a PDI or receiving disciplinary action should have the right to be present during the process. Does that make sense? Essentially, like sometimes you'll file a grievance and then Stewart or whatever will meet with management and kind of represent you. And the general consensus and why it got shot down, a lot of them were like, well, there's a lot of idiot carriers who don't know when to keep their mouth shut. And it's, it's not in their best interest. And they may say something that will jeopardize what the steward's doing for them. And I do get that. I mean, are a lot of idiots. I fancy myself one occasionally, but it also at the same time, I think at the time I had recently had a situation where I had put in for something and they kind of sort of half went to bat for me, and I feel like it should have been something that should have been retroactive, but it wasn't. And but I don't know that I was fairly represented in that meeting. So I get both sides of it. So I was kind of curious your guys' opinion on that. You know, I understand that yes, oftentimes like carriers will like say something that doesn't help their case in that situation. But should a carrier have a right to be present in that situation?
That's a good one, because I don't think I've ever heard a resolution like that before. I mean, I definitely see where it got shot down.
Right.
Yeah, me too. You know, I see that as well. But
I guess in a way it would almost be similar to, you know, when a grievance doesn't get settled and it gets sent up the chain, then that local steward is left hanging too until they hear something.
Mm-hmm. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, we don't, you know, stewards don't even get to follow it on up the chain. And I mean, it'd be kind of cool to sit in and see what's going on. I definitely agree. I mean, you know, you get told when you go in for a PDI. I've had a couple PDIs, I know. In my old office, why I was steward there.
If you haven't had a PDI, you're probably not doing it right.
Right. Actually, one of them was I did mess up. It was my own fault. I didn't get any discipline over it, but yeah, I mean, I totally see it, because you know, you are told usually by your steward, it's just yes or no or I don't know for answers, because you don't want to incriminate yourself. And you do have carriers that I could see during a step 1 meeting between a steward and management, and they're trying to defend themselves even further when they should completely not even open their mouth.
Right, right.
We see it even in investigative interviews and things like that. You know, if you have the best advice I ever got was from a lawyer. It was, no matter what you say, no matter what you do, anything you say will be misconstrued, misinterpreted, and misapplied to be used against you.
Mm-hmm.
And that advice has stuck with me ever since. It's the same whether you're dealing with cops. It's the same whether you're dealing with management. It's the same whether you're dealing with your friends, or supposed friends, I should say. Mm-hmm. Real friends won't do that to you.
Yeah,
but
help parents.
But
I remember being a teenager.
But the key to it is now this isn't steward advice. I'm not acting in a steward capacity in this situation.
Of course.
But what should happen is that steward should do their darndest to defend that carrier as if it's themselves in that grievance, as if that grievance is their own. They're supposed to own that grievance as if they put it forth themselves, and turn around and fight for that carrier as if it is their own grievance. And then once they're done with that, they need to come back to that carrier and explain to them exactly what happened. Everything, as much detail as you possibly can, because that carrier took the risk of filing that grievance. And I call it a risk because you can say it however you want, but no matter what, every time you do something that angers management or angers somebody else, that puts a target on your back.
Absolutely. Yeah, 1,000%.
And you just have to
and
remember,
no matter what,
when it's disciplinary, and that's even going into an investigative interview, and again, I am not acting in steward capacity, I'm not giving steward advice, that the burden of proof for disciplinary action lies on management.
Right.
So if you've got that carrier can't keep his mouth shut, and he's just rattling away, well, now you're building that burden of proof up more and more with management. Because great channel on YouTube, the DUI guy. Great lawyer. He says it best. Every test you do for them builds the case against you. Doing those tests does not clear you of the problem. It just adds more to their list of things they can put against you in court. They've already chosen they're going to arrest you. They just want more to put on top of it.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yep.
that's pretty much why they can that one real quick.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I totally understand that.
Damian, check your
I was
messenger real quick.
just gonna read it. A friend will calm you down when you're angry, but a best friend will skip beside you with a baseball bat singing, "Someone's gonna get it."
Nice.
Yeah, we all have those friends, or are those friends?
A good friend will fight with you. Your best friend will be sitting next to you in jail saying, "Let's do that again."
I keep my mouth shut. I plead the fifth.
Yeah, it's the safest
No,
bet.
you plead the fourth because you drank the fifth.
Yes,
Nice.
exactly. There's a reason why I'm 4 blocks from the bar, you know? I just gotta remember I gotta walk the correct 4 blocks, because if I walk 3 blocks the other way, I end up in Lake Huron, so, you know.
That's one way to sober
I was
up.
gonna say, how close to Detroit are you? You don't want to walk anywhere.
Nah, I'm about 3.5 hours north of Detroit still, so I'm good.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah, I'm good. I was just.
I'm far enough away that I can walk. I can walk at night without a flashlight, so I'm far enough away I can walk at night without a flashlight.
There you go.
Nice.
No, actually,
Okay, city boy.
I was just down in Detroit the beginning of March, right downtown, for a tattoo expo.
Oh, nice. That sounds fun.
It was. It's always fun. It's an annual event for me. I'm actually taking my daughter in July down to Ohio to the Incarceration Festival at the Mansfield Penitentiary.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, that sounds cool.
3 days of heavy metal and tattoos. I've already got my session booked, but
Hell yeah.
Nice.
yeah, yeah. It's
Did you get approved for that leave?
I did. Actually, I did, because it was prepaid, and I put it in outside of the 60 days with my receipt and said, "Yep, I'm going. Bye." Yeah, they've got.
I don't even have to put in leave. I just go. I'm out for the day. My sub takes over.
I am the.
We have enough
talking
subs in
about.
my office. Yeah, we have enough
you have a
subs in my
sub?
office. Yes, I actually have a sub assigned to my route.
Wow.
In fact, during the condition that nobody likes to talk about because their podcasts get banned for it, we never had a route go unserved in my office.
I wish I
Nice.
could say that.
Yeah. Do you have 5 routes or?
That's 12.
Oh, that's not too bad. That's pretty big.
Yeah.
Nice.
Never seen that before.
How many routes do you guys have in your office?
Oh hell, I don't know.
Over 50.
Is it that many? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's 30
it's
in
over.
West and like around 20, and then plus aux routes
it's
that
over.
they just insist on making.
Yeah, somewhere between 50 and 60.
Nice.
And it's split
Okay.
between 2 buildings, like east and west.
So a nice little office.
Yeah.
Nice and cozy.
Yeah, that's just rural. I don't know city. There might be like 100. I
About
don't
the
even.
same, yeah. Maybe.
It was the same. I don't know. It seems like a lot more.
Yeah, there might be more.
I don't know.
Yeah, don't ask us about
Well-
numbers. We've established.
You're
do
the
the math.
numbers guy. You're supposed to know this.
They can't math.
Right.
Now, Josh.
Yeah, I
I
can
can-
read. I can read addresses. That's all. That's all I know.
I can count the number of times I've had my actual like just scheduled K day, because that's 0.
Right? That's like.
Now, are you a
After-
regular or formula?
I don't remember.
Does
what that
everyone have
means.
Saturday off? Or
No. Every route has its own.
Okay, so you're a formula office.
Right.
Okay.
Josh has his own little cozy office, don't you?
Oh yeah, it's a little teeny tiny thing.
Yeah. How many routes you got?
In my station, there are 18 rural and 40 something city. In my office as a whole, there's 200 and somewhere between 230 and 260 rural routes with
Jeez.
between 9 of 15 stations.
Yeah.
Wow. Then stations are different,
And
separate like locations.
yes, different delivery units that all fall under one postmaster.
Wow, that
So it's
postmaster
not
must make $1 billion a year.
the postmaster, my postmaster's office is on the second floor of the plant.
Wow, that's crazy.
Some carriers probably never even see them.
No, they don't. My station is the closest to the plant. He was there this week because we had a bunch of there was a dog and pony show going on.
Mm-hmm.
Some big brass in the building. I think the vice president of retail something or other was in town with her cronies. So
Mm-hmm.
he came through with them for that. The last time he was in the office was months ago. Buddy of mine at a different station. Last time I talked to him, he couldn't even tell you. I don't think the postmaster's ever been to that location.
Wow, that's crazy.
At least the current postmaster.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would matter because we had a postmaster retire recently, so I don't mind talking shit because he retired. But he out of our 50+ routes, just 2 buildings, so nowhere even near the scope of what your postmaster has to manage. He goes up to this carrier and is like, "Oh, are you the new RCA?" She's like, "I've been here 14 years." So, yeah.
Wow.
But he's retired, so luckily, we don't have to deal with that anymore.
Yeah.
Oh,
How the
yeah.
fuck do you guys function? Big offices like that.
Oh, that's so crazy.
How many
is.
how many routes you got, Ben?
Myself,
In your office?
we got 4 routes plus an aux. So we're really, really small.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
smaller
it's
than
very
me.
small, yeah.
But we're like 120 miles for the routes plus.
Mm-hmm.
So we're a true rural.
Okay, nice.
Now, are
Real
you your
real
own
peaceful
office,
out
or do
there.
you have an APO or
We have an AP.
RMPOs?
Well, we're the main hub. Well, we're the main office, and we got 2 other hubs, I guess you could say.
2 RMPOs under your
Yep,
office.
RMPO. Yep.
So your postmaster covers all 3 locations.
Well, OIC does now. Postmaster, he's been out since December 16th. So yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
But-
wow, that's
Yeah.
super rural.
Yep.
Mhm.
We got our
Now,
OIC.
James
She's
is-
doing the best she can, and yeah, doing a pretty good job for what she is. Doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, we've only got 6 rural routes and a knock.
And you're a standalone office.
We have 2 RMPO offices, but the 3 routes for those offices are under our roof. So, and
But
those are,
they're in this. It's in the same building.
Yep.
You just have 3 different zip codes.
yes.
Okay.
2
How about
route
James?
Hmm?
Do you have RMPOs, or is you all in one office?
Standalone one office, PM and
Okay.
supervisor, and
Okay.
we're supposed to have 5 clerks, but we're down to 2. Supposedly they hired a new one, hopefully here soon. They'll show up. But one of our RCAs has been doing the clerk work in the morning to get
Oh,
hours.
jeez.
We have a good complement of subs, so he's doing the clerk work to get more hours. The clerks that are there now will only do 40 hours. They don't want any OT, so they aren't going to file a grievance against them for
Can't
doing
blame
it. So, but they moved Amazon out of our office. We were actually the hub office for 3 offices in the area, and they pulled the Amazon out because we didn't have the clerk. Moved it to other offices, so now we're back to 6-day delivery out of our office.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which sucks for me because I have a 28-mile route and I have to fuel my truck twice a week, and most often it skips the sub, so I have to fuel my truck twice a week now instead of getting it filled on Sunday for Amazon.
Oh, you poor thing.
Right?
Yeah, sometimes it ends up that I have to fill it up when I leave to go start my day on Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Oh,
sucks.
that is the
That's
worst.
rough. That's
You got to fill it up on Saturday.
Yeah.
Well, the sub runs my route on Saturday. I have all my K days, so my sub fills it up on Saturday. Fills it up on Saturday, then I don't have to worry about it on Monday. But if
What's-
I give it to him with more than half a tank, he's going to bring it back, and I have to fill it up on Monday.
What's that? A K day? What's that? What's that mean?
Yeah, I wouldn't know. The only reason I'm actually getting a day off a week is because I have FMLA for dependent care for a weekly appointment.
Oh, okay.
And,
yeah.
Okay.
And it seems that typically Wednesday, if I don't, Thursday, which is the day I've been taking, ends up all without fail that on Thursday it needs gas. And if I take one of the tags and fold it in half and write needs gas and slip it on my key ring, when I put it on the hook, they don't use my truck.
What a coincidence.
So Friday morning, I have to fill it up.
We had a thing in our office where they had to have a meeting that people had to hang up their keys and not hide them because people were hiding their keys on Saturday evenings for Saturday.
I completely.
But I don't know. Whenever management pisses me off, I just fill up with premium.
You guys had that talk too, huh?
Well, yeah, you got caught doing that. They had to talk to you about that.
That was an accident. That's just where I got the bit from.
Yeah.
I've done that in an accident too, so yeah, it's all right.
Is there something going on with mattresses? Because they just pulled 3 from our office.
They're junk.
Yeah.
Well, I knew that. I knew that, but is there like a mass recall on them or something?
Not that I'm aware of.
So,
there must be, because they gave us all LLVs instead.
They're giving them to our office.
The rumor is they're blowing engines.
Wow, that's crazy.
Number one, they're supposed to be ran on premium gas, and
they told everybody to put regular in them.
Yep.
Wow, you can't do that.
These mattresses are turbocharged engines.
Yep.
You put regular gas in them, it's going to put more fuel into the cylinder, and it's actually causing an overpressure in the cylinder, blowing out the head gaskets. Most likely the cause.
But
they're just being cost conscious. I mean, a couple bucks in gas is surely more cost effective than just buying new engines.
What if
they're just being cost conscious.
What if we put wreck fuel in it? What would that do to it?
It'd actually be better for it because the ethanol in regular gas actually has a higher pressure rate than unleaded fuel.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We got a lot of stations around here with wreck fuel. That's how I was like, what can we do with that? But we don't have a mattress, so it's all good.
Yeah, actually, we had that's like one of the fan mails we got from somebody in the room. That I took. I was running express and packages one day for OT, and I just happened to take one of the mattresses unknowingly. I'm not certified with one of the mattresses. And I guess I didn't ask management first, so I ended up driving a mattress for a few packages, and I guess I wasn't supposed to do that.
Oops.
And I definitely filled it with.
Let me guess. You put your collar up and you said, "I'm driving a Mercedes."
I didn't put my collar up, but I definitely sped a little bit. I don't know why they made them so fast. And I drive a Mustang when I'm not working, and I'm like, damn, this ain't too bad, honestly.
They were built with Rex specifications.
Yeah. 47 miles an hour. You got to go 47 miles an hour between boxes. That's what they're for. In order to make 9.2 minutes per mile. 47 miles an hour.
Nice. Is it smooth? Because my truck shakes a little bit around like 90, 95.
Yeah, right. I know you didn't go 90 in an LLV.
My speedometer said 65. I don't think I was doing that, but that's what the speedometer said today.
I don't know. I had one that said I was doing 85, but when I checked on the GPS, I was doing 20.
Nice.
Yeah, if I'm going 35, mine says... Keep going.
I drove in one where as soon as you get up over 35 miles an hour, the needle starts bouncing between 30 and 60. And it just starts bouncing.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I'm doing something.
I was going to say, if I'm going 35, it says 20 to 45. And then back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah.
So I had my first my first K day off ever this last Thursday. And I go into the office and I'm like, what are the plans for my, for this next week, Thursday? They're like, we're going to do the same thing we did the previous Thursday. We're going to bring in 2 subs to do your route because not one of them can figure. I don't know what it is, but one of them can't do it. And they always miss a truck, sadly.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, but Ben can kiss it because he was only an RCA for what, just over a year?
Yes.
Oh, geez. I don't want to hear any complaints from you.
Bite my ass. There, I can say that on this episode.
Well, I just get so pissed off because they only let me train with them for 1 fucking day. like obviously, what was the end result? You're gonna say he's never gonna make truck. He only does it once a week.
Train? What? I mean, usually it's
that's exactly what I told.
Follow the mail. I don't know what the hell I'm at, but okay.
Yeah, that was the training I got for my 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 12th, 20th route that I learned.
Wait. Follow the mail?
You're working that case. You're on that route today.
Mail? Seriously? Follow the mail?
Yeah.
We're in a city,
simple, right?
What the fuck am I doing in a forest? Follow the mail.
Yeah. No, but
how long, Shawn and Damian, how long have you guys been with the post office?
Me since 2015.
Yeah, and I was around the same time.
Yeah.
A little bit
That's
after.
about when I
Damian's
went
been there a
regular.
little bit longer.
What's that?
I said that's when I went regular.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I was RCA for a year, PTF for a year, and then became regular. Mm-hmm. So I'm only 2 years being a sub. So sorry to everyone else.
Well, I was on track 4 years to go regular, and then FSS hit, and that they put 2 machines in the Greensboro district, and with the 50-mile rule for holding routes in case of excise regulars. Mm-hmm. 1 street on 1 route in the city of Charlotte fell into that 50-mile radius.
Just 1 street?
Which 1 street on 1 route in our northernmost station, on the northernmost route, fell into that 50-mile circle. So they froze conversion for 2 years.
I wish I could say I'm surprised.
Towards the end of those 2 years, they realized they don't need 2 machines up there. So they
go figure.
Shut 1 down, disassembled it, shipped it down to Charlotte, reassembled it, and extended the freeze for another 2 years. So you had the 2 years initially, the 1 year for the transport, and then the 2 years for when we first got it in case we lost any routes.
Oh, jeez.
And they needed to build back up. So that was 5 years that there was a freeze on converting RCAs to regulars.
That's wild.
And meanwhile, I started in December of 14, and I'm still in RCA.
Wow.
Oh, you're still in RCA?
8 years, 4 months, and 15 days so far, counting.
Kristen, let's be fair, though. How long have you been at your office?
I did transfer.
Because you did transfer, which started the time over. So
yeah.
I was second in line in my old office when I transferred. It'll be 5 years September when I transferred.
Have you ever thought about moving to central Pennsylvania?
3 people that were below me in my old office have already gone regular.
Here they're going regular less than a year almost, I think.
A couple of them.
It's been going quick.
I will be going regular by the end of September, finally.
Awesome.
Nice. Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. Finally.
I started in 17. I started in 2017. And I started in April of 2017. I went regular November of 2020.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
That's not a bad run.
No.
When I got into my office, I was 8th in line in 2017. Through people quitting, leaving. I watched one RCA decide to leave an entire cart of packages in the office before she quit.
Nice.
No, she could have kept her job
during Christmas time. Oh, she did. She did.
We had
one
after
Christmas.
We had one in my old office who said she had to go out to her car and grab her purse, and she never came back.
Yeah,
I'll see you both of those and raise you an RCA, cased, pulled down, loaded up, went out on the street, decided this was not the job for him, called his buddy, locked the keys in the truck, and just left it on the street.
Ooh.
Nice.
Yeah, the RCA.
At least he secured the mail.
Mm-hmm. He did secure the mail.
Right. Get this, the RCA that quit that I was talking about was number one sub. 2 months after she quit, the guy below her, who had been there 17 years to her 18, went regular. She could have been regular. She just stuck it out, but she decided to quit instead. And 17 years for him. The guy below him was 15 years. The guy below him was 5, and then me at 3.5.
Jeez, that's crazy. We had to
all in 6 months.
Wow. Yeah, she really should have stuck that out. Yeah, we had a girl that she was a sub with me. I guess you're ahead of me, so you were a sub like, I don't know, maybe a year, maybe less before me.
Right.
And she was like right after me, and she went regular, and her first day as a regular, she no showed.
And we never saw her again.
Yeah, she just. You said she quit like a gangster.
Why?
Yeah, it was so gangster. She was just like, nope, I'm out. Like,
didn't even make
Hell
any
of a
sense.
celebration.
Well, they called they called a missing persons report.
Right. The police actually went to her house, and she was just like, "Oh no, I just quit."
Yeah, they did. Like, she didn't even text anybody. People were texting her, calling her. She just ghosted everyone.
That's the way to do it.
I'm gonna make them worry about me.
We actually had an RCA do the shadow day and then go to academy, and left academy sick the second day and never returned. Yeah.
You. Oh man.
I know.
We had one come in for a shadow day and told the carrier to just let him out of the truck in the middle of the route. He walked back to the office and quit.
Oh man, this looks like it sucks.
That's right. You had one getting car sick in the jump seat, didn't you?
Yeah, I had a couple. A couple close calls. Oh my god, yeah. The one woman, they let her. She was starting to get car sick, and she's like, okay, just let me out here. And there was like an elementary school, so it worked out. I'm like, all right, I'll let her here. And she called management, and they told her to just wait for me to finish the route.
Really?
What?
Yeah, I'm like, you guys couldn't come and pick her up? This poor thing is like getting sick in the back of the car. You couldn't just come get her?
Wow.
Yeah, nothing wrong with an adult just hanging out outside of an elementary school. Like nothing weird about that at all.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's funny.
Wow, that one kind of tops it, man. That's.
Well, don't you know the mail comes first? Mail doesn't get sick in the truck.
Well, they had a telecom to go to, apparently.
Oh.
God forbid they leave their desk.
Right.
Yeah, they got to listen to their managers complain about city carriers when they're in a fully rural office.
Yeah.
No, I think what was best was when I was doing the Rex mapping facilitator training, and I looked down on the postmaster's desk, and that literally she had used one of those label makers and printed out her script, including her name on how to answer the phone, and stuck it to the desk right underneath the phone. I'm like, she doesn't know how to answer the phone? What?
Some people
you don't want to accidentally say Burger King.
Yeah. Or for like you, Kristen, you don't want to say thank you for calling the Radisson.
Hey, I never did that when I worked 2 hotels at once. We got lucky there. But...
I'm gonna leave that one alone. Normally, I would make a joke there about you working 2 hotels at once, but I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Oh yeah, I set myself right up for that, didn't I?
Hey, she's proud of her past.
Better than going city morgue. City morgue, you stab them, we slap them.
Oh, nice.
Oh wait, that's just in Detroit.
Josh, with that, having that many offices and routes, can any RCA be put on any of the, like, be sent to any of those offices? And can any, like, one bid on a route in any of them? Or are they all kind of individual? Oh, really?
Yes. Actually,
it's kind of wild.
When we first went Formula, they had a rural coordinator. So each individual station was supposed to make up their schedule with what they had for RCAs and coverage and and then fill in saying on like this particular route on this day need coverage and submit that to the coordinator. And then he made a master schedule for the upcoming week and sent it out to all the stations saying what RCA, of the RCAs, where they were like which station and route they were scheduled to work on each day.
That's
stepped
wild.
Then that original person stepped down from doing it because it was just a detail at that moment. And the next person was kind of keeping up with it, but not as much. And then when the third person got it, she was keeping all the RCAs and scheduling them in her station and pretty much told everyone else, fend for yourself.
Jeez.
Wow.
So now they actually have a rural manager that just got the position a couple months ago. Allegedly, she's supposed to be getting us back to actually scheduling that, and like even to the point when I submit leave, my supervisor is, once they receive it, has to send it to her. And then she has the master calendar for the whole city, for the whole office, and approves and denies accordingly, allegedly.
Like I was going to run, what would they merge all these offices into the PD&Cs?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. I heard, I keep hearing that we're supposedly going to be in phase 2 of that. The supervisor or manager in charge of the Otis testing for our area was actually in my office, and I met him when I first started, when he was just a regular Otis tester. He said he was out of the office at the time when they've had discussions, but he's saying, at least I guess from a management's perspective, Atlanta, it's a success. Yeah, individual routes have more mileage on it, but everything's right there already for them. So, he says it's working out. You don't have, multiple trucks coming from multiple locations shipping to all these different places. He says everything's right there when you come in. Everything is, should, in theory, is right there ready for you to go.
I don't know.
Wow. I mean, it seems...
Go ahead.
Oh, I just see it seems interesting. I mean, it seems like definitely promising, I guess. It's kind of crazy, though.
Seems like a good plan, but when you have vehicles that their frames alone have over 400,000 miles on them,
yeah, that's a good point.
And they're on their 4th or 5th engine and 7th transmission, 3rd rear differential, 4th front end, 2nd body, you're putting even more wear and tear on them. And on top of that, the carrier's got to do 50 miles an hour from that PD&C to their route in order to stay inside their evaluation, because anything over a mile is 9.2 minutes per mile, which is, like I said, 47 miles per hour. So these carriers are trying to do 55 miles an hour in a truck that doesn't even want to do 40.
Yeah. And then imagine the amount of time.
Sticking their leg out the door, kicking the ground, trying to get it to go faster.
Fred Flintstone, that bitch.
Hopefully by then we'll start seeing some of these new vehicles on the road.
Right. Oh, God,
no, those are going to the city carriers first. Those are going to the city carriers first. They get the new stuff so that way they can drive around and look good.
In the commercials, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, drive for 5 miles a day.
Yeah.
Well,
And most
that's
of that
also
is just
crazy
parking the
if you
truck
if you have a breakdown. I mean, how long is it going to take for them to get out? It takes them an hour to get out to us, and they're in York. So, like, what happens if they're 50 miles out, and that's whoever won the bidding process for the fleet maintenance?
Right.
Well, like for us, it's an hour anyway, and we're in our own office for them to come and do whatever. Like the one day I got stuck against the mailbox. You talked about putting your arm out to stop it. I did one of those. I was smart. I did not stick my arm out to stop myself. I'm like, if it's taking out the mailbox, it's taking out the mailbox. But no, it just set right up against it. Couldn't open the door. Now, then I had to climb out NASCAR style. But I had to wait an hour for the wrecker to get there, and he had to actually pull me sideways across the ground. Luckily, it was completely slick out, so he just literally pulled me back up onto the crown of the road from the side of the truck, and I continued on my way. But an hour is about right for them to get out to me even now, because the contract that they have for our area is right by the PT&C is where they are.
Yeah, it'd have been cheaper to run the mailbox over.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. It was still standing perfectly. I was not going to ruin it. It did not move that mailbox. It just leaned against it.
Nice.
I was going to say, a few years back, I had, after we had some snow and ice coming down it was a curve on a downhill. And that was a shady spot, so it was still pretty slick. I ended up slamming into park and pulling the e-brake, and this truck stopped like 2 inches from the post. The post.
Nice.
I just called back to the station and I said, "Look, I am not moving this truck, because if I try, it's taking out the box."
I'm gonna laugh, Josh, because you're in North Carolina.
Yeah.
So when you say some snow and ice, I'm thinking of barely a dusting, because I've had to go out with 18 inches that fell the night before and try and deliver in a POV.
I'm from Philly, so trust me, I know. I can tell you, I won't trade it. I won't trade it, what I've got now, for nothing. We had 12 inches a couple years back. We had 12 inches of snow. If I could find the picture, I would show you guys. 48 hours later, the only thing that was left was a little tiny white patch on my neighbor's yard, because they have the shade in their front yard most of the afternoon, most of the day.
Were you guys closed down for a week, though, until it was all gone?
Were we in the post office? No.
Did your power grid go down like Texas?
No, surprisingly, no. But yeah, they talk about snow and everything closes down here, but post office is still open. I think in the 15, 17, 18, whatever number of years I've been with the post office, 2 times they've canceled delivery on us.
17. Our post office only closed once. Our post office closed only once since 17, and that was because the trucks wouldn't start because it was negative 35 out.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah.
Like literally, you went to crank the truck and it went.
See, my first office, we actually had the block warmers on all our LLVs, so we just had to remember to plug them in at night during the winter.
Yeah, we don't have those. We're not that lucky.
Far north I was. Feel like,
but then again, Texas LLVs have 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, that don't make sense. But
really,
yeah. There's a few of them down there in Texas that have 4-wheel drive.
Texas trucks don't have 4-wheel drive.
I was gonna say, I know some FFVs are all-wheel drive, but
I love the mattresses. It's like, oh, we're gonna make it rear-wheel drive again. Like, oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, I heard some horror stories about those in the winter.
I have a friend in Wisconsin. She said the first winter they had the mattresses, the snow got packed in so thick in the wheel well, it froze the wheel. It wouldn't spin.
Right. I mean, that didn't even take that much. It's a minivan.
Right?
Yeah, that's... Does it go out there with a hair dryer?
Yeah, ours. We have a route that's half got a dirt road on it that doesn't get plowed. They took the mattress out on that flat road, nothing but snow and ice on it. Go to hit the gas and it wouldn't go anywhere. The traction control would kick. The traction control would kick in. And it would stop the van. It wouldn't go anywhere.
All right, guys, we're gonna kind of wind it down since we're getting a little bit late here.
Well, 2 hours.
A couple hours. No,
I'm glad we could fill a full episode.
Hey, right. I try to limit about an hour and a half, but with this whole Rex fiasco bullshit, how did your guys' office fare, by the way, with that?
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Actually, I haven't heard any horror stories. I stayed the same.
I went up. Yeah, and I haven't heard anybody, besides maybe going down an hour or two. It wasn't really that bad. I don't know if they were harder on us for the scans, if we just did better with that, or if it was we got more fair of a count. I don't know, because they say it didn't. It's possible, because we definitely had no shortage of. There was a couple light day, disrespectfully light days during the mini mail survey, but we did have plenty of days with.
Keep in mind with the survey that was only 4%.
Yeah, that's what they said.
Picture. So what? And that was only the mail that you were getting from the clerks that the clerks worked and sorted.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So the only way that would have made a difference is if you were on the cusp of, let's say, a 43 or 44.
Sure.
That might have been just enough to put you up to the 44.
Uh-huh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's what you've been doing for the last year.
Yeah.
And what you've been entering into the scanner and the volume of mail and packages you've had is what's made the difference.
Yeah, and I know in West York, they've been getting hammered with packages because Amazon doesn't help as much for some of those routes. They have a little bit more rural routes, so I guess Amazon just doesn't help them. But we've gotten Amazon help, and we still didn't have too many. We didn't really have much of a fiasco or anything in East York. So it's definitely. I mean, I appreciate it, and I was definitely doing my scans like I should, but I definitely was. Maybe a little bit skimping out,
Right. I don't know. When I had when the red plums were really thick, I had about 700 unscannable parcels.
That's carrier discretion.
That is carrier discretion.
Supposedly. Yeah, I'm sure you heard that on our podcast, but one of my routes and one of the routes in my office went from a 46K to, with the high option, a 44H.
Ooh. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Wow.
One of the.
That's 2 hours of pay and 2 days off they've lost.
Now the carrier that did that, they went through my training. I put on a unpaid, unsanctioned Rex training with my carriers in my office to help them with the scans, and that didn't help them at all. I had 4 carriers show up out of the 12 routes and 6 subs that we had. 2 of the routes are aux routes, but the one aux route went up 2 hours. It was a 2-hour a day route under average. So, but it went up to 3.5 hours a day.
Wow.
And my route stayed the same. My route was the only one that stayed the same. Everybody else in my office lost.
Jeez.
Another carrier in my office said to me when I was telling him that I was putting on the training, said, I was told only to do the 6 scans by management. I'm only paid for the 6 scans, so I'm only going to do the 6 scans. The only thing that saved his route from becoming an H route was the fact that his primary sub went to my training and was overly zealous with her inputs of scans.
She
worked his average for him.
Wow.
He doesn't know it. He doesn't like his sub, or any sub really, but his sub is the only reason his route didn't go to an H route. because if no other inputs other than hers were on his 4241. So, you know, we don't give out advice on here like we're union stewards. We give advice like we're the carrier in the cubicle next to you. We're in the case next to you talking to you. You know, you're getting your advice from your casemate. That's how we do it. And that's all we want to do is give you advice like your neighbor would do in your office. Even that, sometimes, you know, your neighbors sometimes don't have the right advice. Sometimes we get the information wrong.
And that's
but
where
the biggest
we make
part
a
of it,
drinking game out of it.
yeah. If we're wrong, take a drink. If we're wrong, take a drink. Every time you hear us say something wrong, take a drink. Just like when we say carrier discretion or supposedly.
Just don't drink on the job. I found
Not
out.
on the job while you're listening to it. Keep a little counter going in your head, and when you get home, that's how many shots you got to take.
And no drinking for our podcast, because if you're drinking when we say something wrong, you're going to die of alcohol poisoning.
And I usually listen when I'm on the route, so I really couldn't do that anyways. So we're
good. That's for your own safety.
Yeah.
Well, when we were going,
Speaking of your
when we were going
podcast-
over the scans, I think we hit liver disintegration and loss of consciousness
Nice.
with carrier discretion. With carrier discretion, supposedly.
Yeah. All right, guys. Speaking of your podcast, where can we find you?
All the major places where podcasts are: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Stitcher, Google Podcasts.
Yeah, pretty much anywhere. And then we have an Instagram at attempted delivery, where we usually post a lot of like the memes. We make memes between we kind of waffle between postal related memes and comedy related memes for the moment until we're eventually going to go to video, and then we'll post clips on there. But for lack of anything else, we just make things that we think are funny and post it on Instagram, which we need to start posting to Facebook because it seems like we get a little bit more traffic on there. But
You can cross.
but yeah,
post.
just on yes,
Do you-
I
do
gotta
you
figure.
even
I
know
gotta
what a
learn how.
Facebook is?
I do. I'm the worst millennial ever. I don't know how to use social media.
But his girlfriend has a Facebook account. Imagine that. Imagine that.
Wait. You know, it's more than just MySpace now, you know, right?
That would be. That was my last social media website before Instagram. It was MySpace. I miss
Well,
Tom.
we can't wait until you put your first actual performance, your on-stage performance online for us to see. That would actually be cool to see.
Yeah, we got to get around to that. We got to get some topical material. That way, we feel comfortable burning it, because we need all the material we can get.
So what would you guys do if you were like invited to be the entertainment for like a state convention banquet or something?
Oh, we might do well there, because then we can do some real postal jokes that only you guys would like.
Or just immediately
only
get fired.
I mentioned that because my state secretary, who's really cool as hell, and she was talking about wanting to do, finding some sort of entertainment, and she's like, or maybe some comedian or something, and I was like, I know who.
Well,
She's
we're gonna
like,
start
I
writing
know.
material now.
There you go.
If they need us to, we'll find a way to work clean.
Yeah, keep it PG-13, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we could manage that.
I don't know.
No cuss words or smut, but Damian might talk about death. It won't
Gotta
be
be
postal
careful.
related death.
You got to remember, there's not only regular carriers, but there's also retired people in there as well.
Not for long.
Yeah, if they did the full term at the post office, they're not going to last too long now.
They're probably happier now.
They gotta be. If they're not, they're mentally ill.
No, they just all vacation together at National Convention.
Right.
Yeah. That's their vacation. Yeah, well, thank you again for having us, and I didn't want to forget to say this. You guys are really doing like it's impressive the information you're getting out there, and I'm definitely eventually will have listened to all of your episodes because you can't get better information than what you guys are providing out there.
For sure,
you guys are providing a real service that we are not.
Indeed.
No, but
Shawn, if you include this episode, if you go home, as soon as we get off, if you press play at number 1, by the time you go back to work on Monday, you probably will be caught up.
True. You say that like I get Saturdays off. I don't know what that means, but
we only care about giving information to our fellow craft mates, like you would if it was your best friend or your case neighbor or something like that. You know, and we knew that coming into this that information wasn't flowing freely through a lot of the channels, and we wanted to give a central location for everybody to hear what is most likely the current topic of the day. We're not union stewards for the people that are listening to us. We're not union representatives. Nothing we say here can be construed as coming from the union or an opinion of the union, nor is it an opinion or idea from the United States Postal Service. But from what we've seen in available documents that are public to union and non-union members, this is the information that we've gathered. That's what we do, and take what we say with a grain of salt. And sometimes that grain of salt can be on your margarita glass, especially when you're taking your shots of drinks from our carrier discretion.
Which I'm really tempted at getting shot glasses made for that.
But, you know, we're available on every platform out there, from Spotify to YouTube. So anybody can find us there. United We Scan. Pretty simple, easy to find. We're on Facebook, both a page and a group. You can actually ask questions in the group. And if your question seems like something we could talk about, we'll put it on the air. Same for you guys. Awesome. If you have a question, get it to us. We'll see if we can put it on the air.
Awesome.
Absolutely. We might take you up on that.
There you go.
We'll see. We'll see in September. If I go down, I'm gonna have more questions.
Right. I'm gonna be like, this route went up to a 45. I was so happy to get it. Now it's a 40. What? Yeah, that's gonna be.
Well, you're the RCA, so that's your fault.
You know, I'll be going regular after this next mini mail survey. That's the problem. Is. I'm the one that gave out all the information to everybody in the office.
And trained your postmaster.
Yes. And supervisors. Yeah. No, it's been fun, guys, and for everybody who wants to get out of the seriousness, go listen to Attempted Delivery, because you'll get giggles. I do.
Well, we hope so.
I do, or I roll my eyes, but really.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode.
Exactly.
Right, true.
Yep.
Oh, hashtag shameless plug.
When do you guys, for all your new listeners, when do your episodes come out?
We drop them Thursday mornings at 7:45, which is our start time.
Nice.
at the office. So I figured keep it consistent.
Yeah, for right now that may change, but hopefully it will not.
Right.
So we'll see. It might change to Friday because of like a conflict, of an open mic conflict soon, but we'll see. Hopefully it'll keep the same. When we move to video, we might need more than just 24 hours to get the episode out.
True.
Oh, I definitely understand that.
Well,
that's what happens with our YouTube.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I would you say, Kristen, that you uploaded everything Sunday night and it didn't actually drop onto YouTube until yesterday?
Yeah, I finally got it uploaded to YouTube yesterday.
Oh, you forgot to upload it.
I didn't forget to upload it. I've been riding bitching an LLV for the last 3 days, training the new guy, and running 2 routes a day. Come on now.
Okay.
Plus, we have to add pictures and images to the YouTube, whereas the podcast is just the recording of what we say.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, we all need producers for these things. We need to make it so that we can just pay people to do this for us.
I actually have another carrier in Oklahoma who messaged me and said, "Hey," because he's done podcasting in the past and has just restarted his. He's like, "I can do editing and whatnot for you." I'm like, "Oh my God, I love you. Thank you." Because when I'm up until midnight trying to get this and I can't even see straight, and I'm just like, and I'm like, I got to run 2 routes tomorrow. Okay.
And that's how mistakes in editing happen.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to do the drinking game. You're on the podcast.
Yeah. That could be a fun night too. We should.
Play who passes out first.
Right? It might be Bill.
No, it'd probably be me because I haven't touched a drink in 10 years.
Yeah. That's gonna change, you know that,
But-
right?
But yeah, thanks guys for actually coming on with us and spending this time with us. We really appreciate it and taking us off the serious note that we usually have.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah,
Broadening
definitely.
our horizons.
Hey, that's what
I'm
we're
sure
here
we'll have
for.
you back at another time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
we'll have
if
probably
you
have
ever
you back.
guys get if it gets too much for you, I'm sure there's an open mic comedy somewhere near you, and you can try that. Don't worry, it's not good for your for your morale.
Morals? What?
What are morals?
What's
I can
morale?
I can't do math. I can talk though.
Aren't those the type of mushrooms you can eat? Morels?
I thought that was shiitake or portobello.
It's not psilocybin? What? All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up tonight. Thanks for coming on again. Everybody go check out Attempted Delivery. Give them some likes and whatnot. I'm sure they would appreciate it. And
we would.
We'll see you
Like,
guys.
share,
Take it easy, guys.
Yeah, thanks
Thank you.
to Shawn Dick and Sheets and Damian for joining us tonight. You guys have a good one.
Thank you.
You too.
All right.
Night.
Good night.